brothers and sisters. Welcome to Keeping You Lifted, the show that encourages, uplifts, and inspires with your host, Apostle Hilda Stephens-Antione, featuring special guests and engaging topics on the second and the fourth Monday at 6 p.m. on Facebook Live and YouTube. You don't want to miss one show. The question here now, are you ready to be uplifted?
Well, good evening and welcome everyone to Keeping You Lifted. Yes, I'm Apostle Hilda. I'm your host, and truly this has been a beautiful and blessed day. I hope you tell your friends that Keeping You Lifted is on the air and we have a special guest tonight. I'm so excited about my guest, Latasha Bethea. Latasha Bethea. And she is with us with DaVines Connection, and she's going to share her journey tonight. This is an incredible young lady, and she does so many things. Well, I met this young lady at the Black Business Expo in Asheboro, North Carolina, and she was so kind to say that she would be a guest on Keeping You Lifted. So we're in for a treat tonight. So I want you to sit back and relax and listen to Miss Bethea's story, how it all began, her journey. So we're getting ready to bring in my guest tonight. So I hope you are ready. All right, my guest is here with me. This is Latasha Bethea, and we're so happy to have you as a guest on Keeping You Lifted. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, and thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, we are getting ready to get started. So I have told everyone that those that are watching the broadcast right now live, you can also go back and watch it Facebook Live and YouTube. So we're getting ready to hear this woman's incredible journey. I was so excited about all the information I was reading about you. This lady is so talented. So we're gonna start her journey by Latasha. Will you please introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Latasha Bethea. I am a native of Sanford, North Carolina. I am a clinical social worker for the state of North Carolina. I work for an early intervention program where I evaluate children 0 to 3 that have developmental delays. And outside of being a social worker, I'm also a minister of the gospel. I did my initial sermon back in 2002. I'm a playwright and I'm an author.
Well, see, you heard it first here on Keeping You Lifted. I told you she had some incredible talent. And so when I met you, I'm just gonna kind of mix up the question because I know you can handle anything. It's just nothing written in stone. But when I first met you, I walked by your table. One of the first things you showed me were two books, children books, and I think those books was called about Miles and Nina. Have I got that right?
That's absolutely
So
right.
my first question is, how in the world did you get into writing children's books?
Okay. Well, it's two parts. I started
Good.
off writing plays in my home church. And back in 2006, I was working at a group home down in Pembroke, North Carolina, and it was Black History Month, and they did not have any activities for the residents that were African American. So I talked with my supervisor and asked her, could I write a play? And she gave me the okay. And I prayed, and the Lord gave me, at that time, the play was called Up from Slavery, African Americans' Journey Towards Freedom. And so that was the beginning of what is now called Black 365 that we do yearly to share Black history in the community. But it started all the way back in 2006. Um, and I'm grateful for it because I'm a person that I struggled with reading and writing all through school. So I believe God has a sense of humor that He will use those things that are your weakness for His glory. And so I'm grateful to be able to do that through writing and creating the story of Miles and Nina, because I was meeting so many people that didn't know our history, that the Lord gave me the idea of putting the characters in a book. And maybe if we could plant the seeds in our young people at an early age, they can read stuff about Paw Patrol and do stuff about Mickey Mouse. Why can't they learn about our history through this brother and sister duo? And so as he downloaded it into me, I wrote it, and everything else is history.
Well, I think we're having some technical difficult. We can hear you well, but I think you frozen. You froze. But we're gonna continue with the broadcast. I don't know what happened, but
Okay.
you clearly, and we.
Okay. Awesome.
I don't know if you want to start for a minute and see if you, but we can keep going because this is so interesting. We can hear you very clearly. It's just like it's all of a sudden you kind of got stuck. But what's
Okay.
important is that the book that you was talking about Miles and Nina and putting this in together to help children learn
Mhm.
Black history. Now, how did you become so passionate about Black history? Where did it start, and how this? Uh, why do you think it's important to help the younger generation?
Okay. Um, so it really started back in '06 when I was given permission to write the play for the children in the group home that I was working in. And when I started to do the research, I realized how limited my knowledge of Black history was. You know, I knew Harriet Tubman, Dr. King, Rosa Parks, but as I started to um, explore and research other people, I learned about Claudette Covens. Never heard of Claudette out of 12 years of 12 years of school and then 4 years of college, never heard of this woman. And so in that, it kind of ignited that passion to learn as much as I could, because I felt like I was behind the mark, because now I'm out of college, really out of graduate school, and I'm just starting to learn some things that was not taught to me in the school. And that's what ignited it, and wanting to share those nuggets, those jewels with our young people, because we can they can learn about so many people. They are like Kobe Bryant and all these different people, but with so many people that had so little but did so much. And I want our young people to be able to gather that information, learn from that information, get strength from that, that our ancestors, they were great people, and that they were a peculiar people. And because of what they did so long ago, we are still benefiting from that. And that's what I want our young people to understand, that they come from greatness. And because of that, that should give them a self-esteem to want to be whatever they desire to be.
I think it's important. I think you're doing a fabulous job, Tasha. I think you're doing a fabulous job because history is so important. And I know what you mean because sometimes when it's Black history, I discover so many people I never heard of myself. And I read up on it, I
Mhm.
said, God, I didn't know this. And,
Right.
I'm, in my late 60s, and I'm thinking, what was this hidden from me? Why do I don't know this? And I think you're doing such a fantastic job to meet the younger generation. You are incredible to me. So I don't care nothing.
Thank
Like I said, even about this broadcast, the the enemy can't take nothing away from you. We can still hear you. We going on with this broadcast because you have
you.
something to say, and you're gonna tell your story, and other people are gonna benefit from this story. Because I'm telling
Amen.
you, I want to know if you could just name some of your greatest accomplishment. What are you most proud of?
What I'm most proud of is that God took this little country girl down here in Sanford, North Carolina, that was shy, that wanted to stay in the background, and He placed a gift in me, something that I struggled with. And so that for me to understand, I can understand what Paul was saying in Corinthians when he said that my weakness, then God is made strong. It was through my weakness that God was made strong. And so I'm a witness to that regardless of your background, regardless of where you come from, if God has an assignment for you, he will prepare you for it. He will open the doors that no man can shut. And I'm just glad to be able to be on any platform to let people know that God can do it. And he don't need but just a little bit in our faith, and he'll open up doors that no man can shut.
Well, I tell you, you're going to do an incredible job because you have that passion, you have that drive, and I can see it, I can hear it in your voice that you're going to keep doing, and nothing's going to separate you, nothing's going to turn you around. And we need fighters like this. And I'm so proud of you. I don't know you really personally, but I think it was a big step of faith. Anytime that I can get people to share their story, tell someone what is going on in their life about their journey. Now, you also told me that you co-author a book called Confession from the Waiting Room. Can you give us some details about that book?
All right. So, one thing about me, I am single, never been married, don't have any children. And so two of my friends and I, well, first it was some other ladies that I had reached out to tell their story of their single journey. And and when I started this process, I was like, oh Lord, because I'm a private person myself, but God had to help me understand that this was ministry. So the things that I went through, the good, the bad, and the ugly, trying to go before God instead of waiting patiently for God to send me my mate. Those experiences, those nuggets that I learned from those experiences needed to be put on the page in order to help another young woman. If I could keep somebody from having to take the same road that I took before I got to that level of maturity to understand that it's better to wait in the waiting room. Let God do it. God will fight our battles. God will send the right people that he desires for us to have in our lives. But it took a while. It took a while, but thank God he didn't take his hands off of me when I was out there making mistakes. And so we did not share the names of any of the people that we had experiences with, but they do have titles. So I do have one called Mr. Soul Tie, which is a person that I met. I was in lust, thought I was in love, and just the experience of you being tied to someone that was not ordained by God. And when I hear about young women doing stuff like busting windows out of people's cars and just doing all kinds of crazy stuff over a man, it's because it's a soul tie. But are we teaching our young people about the importance of protecting your soul, that you don't be entangled with the wrong person that can lead you into down a road that you don't want to explore? And so in Confessions from the Waiting Room is telling our stories, but it's also to try to help a young person not have to experience that.
Well, I tell you, it sounds like a great book, and I'm quite sure so many people need to hear that. And we're gonna get your information how they can purchase this book, where they can find your children book, and all this information because it is very, very, it's vital important, especially Confession from the Waiting Room. So
Yes,
many young people, and I can say young and old, probably need to read this book because relationship can be difficult, relationship can be hard. And a
yes,
lot of people, when it comes to the relationship, they realize sometimes people they think to themselves, God is not concerned about a relationship, but God is concerned about everything that goes on with
absolutely.
us. So we need to wait in the waiting room because
Yes,
in that
ma'am.
waiting room you learn a lot of things if you just wait.
If
But
you just
I'm so
wait.
happy, I'm so proud of you, and I want to share that with you. And I'm not saying this because I'm doing this interview with you. I have this discernment when I walked around at the Black Expo. So many people was there. It was just such a great vibe in the room. I mean,
Hmm.
these people were special at that Black Expo. It was something that we was divine connected. So how do you come up with this title? Divine Connection. Is yeah. How did this come about?
All right. So again, nothing but the Lord. So it's not divine as in divine, like, oh, but it
Yeah,
is, back in the day, back in the 90s, people used to say it's the bomb,
yeah,
DA. And so it's really meaning the vine. And I stand on John 15:5. Jesus said, I'm the vine and you are the branches. And as long as you stay connected to the branches, you will produce much fruit. And
yeah.
so that's where the name come from. So everything that divine connection is connected to is going to connect you to the vine, which is Christ. And so that's how the name came about. And everything that we do, we are trying to not only share things like Black history or doing something positive in the community, but we're also trying to share the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Oh, well, you're doing a great job, a fantastic job in doing that. So you are blessed with so many incredible talents. I also, but you also is a playwright. Now tell us how you discovered that talent.
Okay. So in my home church, when you work with the youth pull out creativity that you didn't know you had. So I was working with the youth, had to do, programs. I grew up in Zion, grew up at Cameron Grove Zion Church, and so started writing plays out of the blue, do an Easter play, do a Christmas play, things like that. And um you know church folks, your family, they known you since you were a little child and they seen you grow up, they're gonna always applaud you. But I stepped out on faith in 2012 and actually did my first stage production in the community, and it was called Bathsheba, the Untold Story. And so what that play was about is telling the story of David, Uriah, and Bathsheba, but from Bathsheba's perspective. And so from there, it's been one thing after another, from writing plays just to share the gospel to sharing history. Whatever God downloads in me, I run with it.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job of running with it. But see, this is a divine connection because I'm also a published author. I have 7 books called God Is This My Man, uh, the book series, and my personal memoir. But I wrote the plays, the Christmas play at my church. We
Okay.
did a stage production called Mrs. Castleberry,
Okay.
and so it is amazing how God connects his people together. And so we was drawn together because there was so much in common, that playwright and writing children book. Although I haven't published the children book, I did write some children book. But it's amazing how God put his people together and just to see the great talent. What advice would you have someone who afraid to step out on faith, but know they have a gift inside of them? What would you say to that person? Because when you got started, you had to, maybe there were not many mentors around to push you,
Right.
but inside of you, you said, I can do this. So what advice would you give to someone?
First thing, to go to the throne of grace. You can't do anything by yourself, but if you seek God, he will open up doors that no man can shut. He said all things work together for the good of them that love him and are called according to his purpose. So with that dream, there's a purpose and there's an assignment. So trust him. Don't allow the enemy to be in your ear to try to keep you or block you from what God has placed in you to do. We want to go out empty. We all come with gifts, but it's up to us to use them. So trusting him and letting him guide you, you can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong. You can never go wrong. And
Mhm.
on that same note, the advice you give, what was your first play? Was it the Bathsheba?
No, the very first play was the Easter play in my
Okay.
home church. Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so
I don't even remember the time.
how
Mhm.
many plays have you written for your church? You did all the Easter plays and Christmas plays, so that could be many.
Well, yeah, I think it was probably about 3 before I stepped out and started doing stage plays in the community.
Okay.
Mhm.
So are you working on any big projects now for the community?
Right now, no. I am focused on I'm part of God Chosen Ministry here in Sanford and just working in the community with my church family right now. I do have Miles and Nina Volume 4 in my mind. I just haven't sat down and actually typed it up just yet, but I know exactly where they're going in the next episode, in the next series of that book. Um, but I'm just sitting quietly and allowing the Lord to lead me because that's the only thing that matters at this point. You know, I can come up with a whole bunch of things, but it's only what we do for Christ will last.
And something else, when I was on your Facebook page, this is how we get information. I wanted to know something because I wasn't sure about this. Do you make jewelry or something like that? I saw
Yes,
some
I do.
jewelry.
Yes,
See,
ma'am.
I told you
Yes,
a woman
ma'am.
of many talents.
So that's a new little talent, but it's relaxation. It's almost therapeutic for me. Like I could just sit and make a bracelet, a necklace, and paint and different things like that. I've been artsy since I was a little kid, so it's just something that I enjoy doing. And now that I'm vending, I'm out selling my books. I also bring some jewelry and see if I can sell pieces while I'm out there also.
Okay. And so big important question, Tasha. How can someone contact you for your books, your jewelry? If someone wants you to do a stage play, help
Mhm.
them, whatever. How can they contact you?
Okay, so I can be reached at Divine, which is DAVINE dot connections 15.5 at gmail.com. I'm also available on Facebook at Divine Connections LLC and on Instagram at divine.connection.
So, what do you see yourself doing in probably about the next 3 years?
Well, a goal that I would like to reach is be able to have a summer camp for youth that they can come and they can explore the different arts to figure out what their gift is, what their talent is. Through this process of doing plays, I have had the opportunity to meet some amazing musicians, dancers, poets, singers. And so being able to have the revenue to be able to bring these talented men and women into small communities like my community, Sanford, to give children an opportunity to come and explore and to see what their gifts are would be amazing.
Okay. So, have you worked on any kind of type of program like that?
No, I have not.
Okay. And so I also want to see this broadcast and we'll connect with you and help you reach that goal in Sanford, North Carolina, because that would just be amazing. There's so many gifts and talents that God is going to pull out of you because you have that passion and the desire, and you have this younger generation that you want to teach, and young women, women all ages and colors and all walks of life, and
Yes,
so God will use you because you have a passion, you have a talent, and you don't mind sharing it. You don't mind connecting with people. And I'm so happy to have you on Keeping You Lifted because this is what this show is all about. Is to encourage other people, to inspire them, and also to uplift them. This is a show that was birthed during the pandemic, September the 3rd, 2020. And I can't thank enough people for sharing their story, encouraging someone, and somebody, okay, if they could do it, I can do it. And so
right.
this is how we connect together. I love for people to share their story. So I'm going to ask you this as we bring the show to a close, because I know everybody's incredibly busy. The time is precious, but I can't thank you enough. You have been an awesome, awesome guest on Keeping You Lifted. You have any final words?
Um, Trust God in the process. Regardless of what may come our way, just trust God in the process, and He will lead you through the power of the Holy Spirit.
Well, you heard it first on Keeping You Lifted. Tonight, my guest was Latasha Bethea. I'm telling you, with DaVines Connection. I'm telling you, don't forget to look her up. Go back and watch the video, the broadcast. Watch it on Facebook, and you can go to YouTube. Keeping You Lifted. You have been awesome, my dear. And I
Thank
will
you for having me.
stay in contact with you. This is not a one-time thing for me. I think you're very precious. I think you're unique. And I think you're going far in all that God has placed his hand on you to do. So we
Thank you.
love you here at Keeping You Lifted. Thank you so much for spending time with us tonight, sharing your story. We're calling your books to sell thousands and thousands upon thousands. And that
Thank you. I
people will,
receive it.
yeah, and people will receive this because the historical adventure of Miles and Nina, I'm gonna have to purchase that for some child so they can have it and follow you and understand what it is that they need to know about our history. So thank you so much. I hope you have a blessed night and I hope to talk to you real soon. Okay?
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. God bless you. Have a good night.
You too.
Well, that's our show for tonight. The incredible, I can say, Latasha Bethea. Awesome, awesome young lady. And we're going to stay in touch and I'm going to get her information out to you. This has been a great show. I thank you for those that commented, that stuck in here with me tonight, that watched the show. Oh, it encouraged me to keep going. Thank you. We have some wonderful guests coming up. I'm telling you, we have some wonderful guests coming all the way up to September. And I wanted to share this with you because what we're going to do, the show is going to air until the first week of September, right after Labor Day. Then we're going to close it down and then we're going to start over for the Lord's will for 2025. But there is some incredible guests that you want to stay and see the rest of the show. We're having Jackie Foster coming up the next month. I want to get my book because I want to make sure we're going to have Jackie Foster coming up the 22nd, and it's Fostering Connection. She's going to be talking about epilepsy in the Black community, all the things we need to know. And she's going to be my guest at the end of April, the 22nd. And then we're going to jump over in May. And then we're going to have another author. It's going to be um, May the 13th. It's going to be Ruth Fred Duke, and she's going to come and tell us about her incredible book called Awaken to His Voice. And then we're going to have two young ladies coming the 20th of May. It's going to be Kingdom Fit Designs and more. It's going to be Lisa Johnson and Melissa Bishop. And I'm telling you, this is just some of the guests that we're having. And we all connected at the Black Business Expo in Asheboro, North Carolina. And these wonderful people that I met, we connected. And all of them have said yes to the show. So we're going to bring you some incredible guests. So I want you to tell somebody that Keeping You Lifted is on the air on the second and fourth Monday at 6 p.m. It's going to be incredible show. God is doing some incredible thing. I want to thank you again for your comments, for tuning in tonight. Tell your friends to subscribe, to share, and like, please. Let's just get the word out because, like I said, we have some awesome people coming to the show. So once again, thank you again for tuning in tonight. You be blessed until the next time. I want you to know we have never been so uplifted. This is Keeping You Lifted. I'm your host, Apostle Hilda Stephens-Antione. So be blessed until the next broadcast. I love you all.
Never been more uplifted, uplifted. Never been more encouraged, encouraged.